Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Switched at Birth, Season 3, Episode 4. What was this episode called? Let me check. If it hurts to wait with love if love is somewhere else. And this was a fantastic episode. I really love this episode. I think it was a really intense episode. A lot of big, jaw-dropping moments in this episode. I'm really interested in seeing where a lot of these storylines are going because there's a lot of things that are really starting to change very drastically in this episode, and I really did enjoy that. The only thing that I did not like about this episode was the Regina and Angelo storyline. Honestly, I get where this is going, but this is a silly storyline. I don't like it, and I don't really want to talk about it because it's not that interesting to me. I understand what he's trying to do, but it wasn't that interesting to me, and I'm just not a huge fan of Regina and Angelo's storyline. It's not that interesting. Also, no Toby in this episode, so, but he really didn't have to be in this episode because this episode focused more on, their out-of-school lives. Most times we see in school, but this, these three episodes we've seen them in school. This is the first episode where we didn't see them in school at all. Let's talk about Bay. Bay was the main plot in this episode. Bay's plot, I really am enjoying her plot. She's talking to Emmett and everything, and her and Emmett, you see right away, they're starting to become really, really good friends again. And, in the middle of them talking and everything, Bay gets a text from Ty. And what she eventually finds out is that she's talking with Emmett there. He's taking pictures of her, because he's a photographer and everything. And she sees that there's this girl, Mandy, that's texting him. Now, Mandy is this girl that is actually someone he met on the internet. And Bay tells Tank all about this, and Tank says that, oh, you shouldn't, I really like Tank's advice, because it is good advice. You shouldn't worry about that. Like, for example, do you guys remember in the summer, I had something similar like this happen to me in the summer. There was this girl who, liked me, and it wasn't really a real relationship, though, and it's true. And luckily, everything was fine. The girl was who she said she was. But the thing is that Tank says, don't worry about it. It's probably going to be perfectly fine. I wouldn't worry about it. This girl's not going to stand in your way. So Bay starts to get very worried about this and everything, and she ends up talking to Emmett about it, because Emmett, I really feel bad for both Bay and Emmett in this episode. On one hand, Bay wants to get back together with Emmett, but now she has this problem. Then there's Emmett who wants to get back together with Bay, but Bay is getting all these texts from Ty and everything, and the thing is that she wants to move on from him. So eventually her and Emmett have this really big scene, really big conversation that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the scene. Also, it seems like Tank, she asked Tank point blank, she has a very important question, and not really important question, but a very interesting question. Out of nowhere, she just asked, do you have feelings for me? And he says, no, I don't. But I'm really not sure about that. The way that it doesn't seem like they, it seems like, it's more than a friendship. I really see them going in a relationship. At this point, with Bay and Emmett, I see them more as friends. I really love Bay and Emmett together, but I don't think they're getting back together that soon. I think we're going to have to wait till, the mid-season finale or something, but in the meantime, Bay and Tank date, yeah, I'd love to see the two of them date. So, I think Tank actually does have feelings for Bay, but he does not want to admit it. So, Emmett, eventually Emmett and Bay have this, conversation. They go to Kentucky, for some reason. I don't remember why, but it was something with a camera. They have a camera set up and everything, and they're talking, and Bay asks, Emmett about Mandy, and he asks, why are you so interested? It's really not important to you, and, what ends up happening is she tries to kiss him, and then Bay brings up something where I was not happy with her at this point. I'm like, why did you bring this up? And she brings up the fact about Simone cheating again. Honestly, Bay, this happened years ago, and you still have not forgave him for this. It's ridiculous. And Emmett gets furious at her and he says, we can never get back together because of this. Mandy was my way of moving on, and because of, you're never going to be able to not bring that up, so obviously we can't ever be back together. And Bay feels really bad about this, and she tries to talk to Emmett, but she ends up knocking over his camera and destroying his camera, so that really sucks for her. But, yeah, so Emmett and Bay, we don't know what's going to happen with them. But eventually, Bay does talk to Emmett, and she does realize that, yes, she does need to move on. And she tells Emmett that, yes, I understand what you're doing, and I'm sorry about that. And Emmett also told Bay one other really important thing, to move on from Ty. So she gets this other message from Ty, another email, and it says, do you want to delete this, yes or no? And she presses yes. So she has totally moved on from Ty, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here, because I really am enjoying her storyline. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see what's going on with this Mandy girl. Is she who she says she is? At one point, I thought that Emmett did this, because he was jealous of Bay and Ty. But now I think that he's texting someone that he really does not know who it is. And, I'm thinking this Mandy girl is not who she says she is, because in the long run, long-distance relationships internet relationships do not work. There is no such thing as an internet relationship. I went through it. There's no such thing as it. Friendship, yes, but not an internet relationship. There's no such thing. So that was Bay and Emmett's plot, which I really loved in the episode. I think that was probably one of my favorite parts of the episode. Now let's go to Daphne. Daphne's plot is very complex in this episode. A lot going on with Daphne. They're really doing a lot with her character this season, which I really do like. They might be giving her a little bit too much, but I really am enjoying what they're doing with her character. So Daphne has two big things going on. One, she's still recovering from Campbell and him having a girlfriend and everything, and she's kind of upset about that. She's upset that he didn't tell her, and he says he's sorry and everything about that. But the other person that she's working with, Jorge, decides to invite her to this party of some sort, this picnic. And she goes there. It's either party. It's a party, not a picnic. A party. And while she's at this party, though, his sister comes up to her and she says, "How could you let her blackmail a senator like that?" And she gets all upset about it. And she says, "How could you let her do this? This is part of our culture. Why would you let her do this to you and everything?" And Daphne gets really upset. She just leaves. She's not having a good day at all. It's really not going well for her. And that's what ends up happening with Daphne while she's there. Eventually, though, her and Campbell do talk. And Campbell actually admits something that I didn't think he would admit. I actually thought Campbell and Daphne would just stay friends. But something happens here that made me think no. Especially because of what happens after this scene. We see Daphne and Campbell, and they're playing in a basketball game. And Campbell brings up the fact that the reason that he did not tell Daphne about his girlfriend is because, one, she has stuck by him from the very beginning, and he can't break up with her. But he is starting to fall in love with Daphne. So we see that happening, and I really do like where this is going, because it's really complicated, and I feel really bad for the guy, because on one hand, there's this one girl who's stuck by him from the beginning, and he can't lose her because she's been such a huge part of his life. But then you have Daphne, who is someone he's willing to start a relationship with, and then we find out later that, he doesn't want to break up with her. So after this, Daphne and Jorge also just are talking, and what happens with them is he apologizes to her. He says, I should have stood up to my sister, and I didn't. I'm sorry about that. And he ends up kissing her. So that was really big. I did not expect that to happen at all. I was really shocked by that, especially because I didn't think they were going to have some sort of relationship. I thought it was going to be Daphne and Campbell. But that was really shocking to me. And then even more shocking is that after this, Campbell tells Daphne that he broke up with his girlfriend. So now Daphne has two guys falling for her. The question is, who is she going to pick? And it's going to be very interesting to see who she picks, because Both of them really do like her. Both of them are willing to sacrifice things for her. And it should be interesting to see who she picks. So I really like Daphne's storyline. I like where it's going, and I like that they're doing a lot with it, because it really is great. And the only other storyline is John and Kathryn, because as I said, I don't really want to talk about Regina and Angelo's storyline, just not that interesting to me. John and Kathryn's storyline, really interesting. John wanted Kathryn to go to Nashville with him for something with his job, and Kathryn told him she couldn't because she already had plans with Renzo, and John was upset about this, and honestly, to me, John has a right to be upset at her, because this is something that he could not control. She easily could have said to him, I can't do this, I have to go somewhere with my husband, I'm sorry, I can't go right now, but I will try, and, I will try to make plans later. But, on one hand, that is something for his job. So I gotta side with both of them on this, because it's really something that, they really need to solve all these problems, and it seems like they're not solving these problems at all. And eventually, John finds this motorcycle. And he asks Kathryn, Kathryn immediately says, no, I don't want you to get that, it's not a good idea. But he does not listen to her, and John honestly is acting like a little child at this point. I thought this was ridiculous. I just completely went against her. But I guess it's because he's so upset with her. I guess that's probably why. He buys the motorcycle, and Travis, he's with Travis, he buys a motorcycle, and he ends up crashing the motorcycle. So, unfortunately, he ended up crashing the motorcycle, and that was the story of that. So that's what happened with John and Kathryn. But it looks like some really big things are going to happen with John and Kathryn, because a lot of stuff is going to happen with them. Now let's get into Regina and Angelo, because I do have some time to talk about them. Again, I'm not really into their whole storyline. I like where it's going, yes, but it's probably my least favorite part of this episode. It's not as interesting as everything else that's going on. Their storyline is, how Angelo what we find out is that girl that Angelo is calling owns a restaurant that he wants to buy, and he wants to give all this money to this girl, and he's willing to, he wants Regina to sacrifice for him, and the thing is that Regina can't, and it seems like this new guy who's helping her out is actually going to be better for her, because Angelo basically tells Regina that the one thing that has to go is you, and he's just gonna, kick her out. It's gonna be, I don't think that's the right thing to do at all, and it should be interesting to see what happens there. So yeah, overall, great episode. I really like a lot of things that are going on in it. Has Bay completely moved on from Ty? I think by this episode, yes, she has. Do you think her and Emmett might start something? That should be interesting. Also, Daphne, do you think Daphne and who would you want together? Daphne and Jorge or Daphne and Campbell? I personally say Daphne and Campbell. He really sacrificed a lot for her. But also her and Jorge to have a lot of chemistry as well, so it should be interesting to see what happens there. Do Bay and Tank have something? It seems like Tank has genuine feelings for Bay. I know a lot of these plots were love plots, but that was basically the theme of this episode. It was all about love and couples and things like that. John and Kathryn, do you think they're going to be able to fix their problems? I do not think they're going to be able to. It seems it's getting worse and worse for them. Even though they keep ending on a positive note, each time something occurs, they get into a huge fight about it, and I don't think things are going to work out for them. And also Regina and Angelo, what do you think? Do you think Regina and Angelo, it's really not working out for them in my opinion. But that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. In my opinion, best episode of the season. Really enjoyed it a lot. A lot of curveballs that this is taking. And also, who is this Mandy girl? Is she a legit person, or is it someone that we might not suspect? It could be Simone. I mean, they did talk a lot about Simone, so I would not be surprised if, maybe Simone might still like Emmett. I don't know. But that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.